and welcome to the 21st edition of the Salt Lunchbox. And if you could have seen our lead up to today, you'd have seen anything that could go wrong with technology. So we hope you're in a humorous frame of mind, ready for a laugh, because we've got Scott Angove with us today. He's going to talk about humour and well-being. And when I show you my screen and start making mistakes, you can have another laugh. Welcome on Zoom, welcome on Facebook Live. My name's Dave. I'm the founder of Salt Sport and Life Training. We're a not-for-profit health education organisation that's actually kind of revelling at the moment in terms of how we can build upon the positives that there are during this period of coronavirus. And we're having some fantastic Zoom meetings, not as good as being in person, but certainly finding that we're still able to connect really meaningfully. Today is about inspiring and connecting. There's always 3 takeaway points and a call to action. And a Q&A at the bottom of your screen, where if you make it open to all attendees, we can see what you're writing, and our moderator, James, can respond to what you have to say. We have tremendous sponsors in Eastland, Bendigo Bank and FC Business Solutions. Well, I'm excited to introduce to you Scotty Angove. Scotty works for Salt. He's one of our most popular presenters. No one works a room quite like Scotty does. And part of the reason for that is that, as well as being a teacher and a Salt presenter, he's also a stand-up comedian. And so before I introduce Scott, I'm going to attempt to show you him in action. Let's hope. Possibly. And if I share my screen and click on this.
Please go crazy for Scott Angove. Big round of applause.
Can we see that, Scotty? Give me a thumbs up.
You turn it up a little bit, please, Dave.
The kids with you, yeah. Buddy Uber Eats, iPads, Brazilian kids, modern day parenting, well done. Hey, I got a beautiful daughter, Elsie. I want to tell you about Elsie. Elsie's beautiful, my daughter. Elsie, a bit of a traditional name, named after my great-grandmother. Now, when Elsie was born, I got a card off Uncle Jeff, and I bloody love Uncle Jeff. And I've kept this card, and I'd like to read it to you this evening, okay? Dear Scott and Emmy, congratulations on the birth of your daughter. Hope all is going well. Love, Jeff. P.S. Normally you see more Elsies in death notices than birth notices.
All right, we'll stop sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. I feel like I'm at the comedy club. Would you put your hands together for Scotty Angove?
G'day, Dave. Yes, thanks for that. I've probably made a big mistake there, Dave. We know humour's subjective, and I've probably divided the audience. So we've probably got half still online, waiting to see what we've got to say, and the other half we've probably already left. Dave, I hope you're going okay during the lockdown, and you probably hope that it doesn't last too much longer, Dave, because you are scraping the barrel for guests and so-called experts here, Dave. But anyway, I've been dragged into the fold. I've got to say, Les Twentyman was great on Monday. Really enjoyed Les. Very inspirational. Adding a bit of humour there too. I loved when he was talking about hygiene not being a really big thing when he was a young bloke, and he actually thought hygiene was a tall girl, which I thought was fantastic comedy. I'm going to steal that, Les, if you don't mind. Other things, Dave, going okay in the lockdown. We've been self-isolating in 3 rooms of the house while we renovate the front part of the house. I now know that DIY stands for devalue it yourself. And I also think that the last round of stimulus package money by the government probably should go to dads who have stuffed up handyman jobs around the house. Doesn't Scott Cam work for the government? I think he's going to be pretty busy. But Dave, our talk today is about laughter being the best medicine. Not as Mr. Trump would have you believe. It's not about shining ultraviolet lights internally. or having a couple of glasses of Pino Clean. It's comedy that can really draw people together. And I'd actually say, Dave, it's interesting during this time of, a tumultuous time where people are in crisis and there's a lot of stress going on. One thing we tend to do, which is a great human trait, is bring people into the fold with comedy, to alleviate how we might be feeling. And I think my comedy friends have actually found this time absolute gold. We had the toilet paper shortage, which kicked off early, which had a lovely ad in the Lonely Hearts column, which said, man with excess pasta and buck noodles seeks woman with a supply of sugar and toilet paper for fun, clean times. There was also that one with homeschooling. I had a mate actually, after 2 weeks of homeschooling, said that he's got 2 kids on detention. One's already been expelled and the teacher's been sacked for drinking on the job. I'm going to throw it open to you, Dave and Edwina. Have you had any funny things that you've seen online?
Well, let's bring Edwina in, and Edwina's going to give us a little bit of insight into the science of comedy. Funny things. Well, I have been riding my bike on the bike path, the Mullum track, and I started to get concerned as to just how many people I had to get around, because everybody else is out there with their 3-year-olds on their cycles and everything. But then I reframed in my mind to think positively, and I now imagine myself on the set of Survivor when they're having to get through all those obstacles, and I speed in and out like a madman, probably causing great havoc, but it gives me great joy. And I think from my friends' perspective, I've almost tired of the constant memes coming out saying that Carlton's having its best streak ever, having never lost a game in May or April since 1906 or whatever it is. So there's a lot of people making fun at my expense during COVID. How about you, Ed?
Oh, look, I think humour is great. I love the project every night, always manages to give us a little bit of the serious and a lot of the humorous. So listening to those comedians like Peter Hillier and those, but, making sure I'm watching comedy. So taken to some of Ricky Gervais's comedies, British Humour of Afterlife, and his former show called Derek. So really love that for anyone that wants a laugh and a cry. I think there's some positive emotion that can really come from crying too. And I think a good comedian, and Scotty can probably attest to this, brings both of those things all in the same gig.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Edwina. Normally the tears are coming from me, though, tearing up inside. But, the reaction hasn't been the one I want. But look, Edwina, you're probably well versed in this, that doctors and psychologists absolutely know that laughter is the best medicine. It's amazing, no matter what mood we might be in, whether we're sad or angry. That brain flicker the switch, that it can change mood in an instant. Humour is absolutely a wonderful thing. And you're probably aware, Dave, if we bring up slide 1 there, Dave, that there's so many benefits of getting more humour and laughter in your day. If we've got that slide there, Dave,
I'm working on that, Scotty. And,
good on you, Dave.
There we are.
So, Dave, have a look at some of these, Dave. The first one there, it prevents heart disease. So it improves the function of blood vessels and blood flow. So, if you want to try and avoid a heart attack or any cardiovascular disease, I would absolutely try and get more humour in your day. It lowers our stress hormones, that cortisol, that stress hormone. If we can get rid of those endorphins, those feel-good chemicals, we're going to be tracking okay. We know it's going to strengthen our relationships, that humour's a great thing to break down barriers and get more people willing to share. We know the work we do in Salt, Dave. If you go out to a sports club, a big group of strangers there. I've got a couple of humorous footy stories, and it absolutely brings people into the fold and allows them to engage more socially. And we do cover some pretty heavy content through there, Dave, and I love how Salt breaks it up with comedy elements there that really relax people. And even for a presenter, Dave, for me, I know the opportunity to to add that comedy can make me feel less overwhelmed and more spontaneous and confident as well. We know humour attracts us to others. You know, people tend to be drawn to people with sociable and agreeable personalities, and you know, that idea of shared laughter between couples can make for great relationships. Really big one there, that it helps diffuse conflict, you know, tears down those defensive walls, ends those fights, helps maintain focus and gets the job done. Comedians even talk about, you know, bullying as kids, and that idea that you can use comedy to, you know, ward off those bullies that might be coming. You know, it's hard to punch someone when you're laughing, Dave. So absolutely, we can use that as a coping mechanism. We know it relieves anxiety, stress and tension. When laughing, it's really hard to be stressed or angry, and humour is a great coping mechanism as well. It strengthens our resilience. So, you know, sometimes in life it can shift our perception when we might think things are going too hard or things are serious. You know, it puts our problems into perspective as well. And that last one there, it absolutely promotes group bonding. I think about a group of schoolmates that I get together with once a year. 5 of us in our families, we choose different parts of Australia and we catch up. And that one thing that really bonds us over the years is that idea of having a good laugh together. Even in, you know, the sports clubs, Dave, when we talk about leadership, can come in lots of different ways. You know, that idea of the clown amongst the sporting club, you know, that's absolutely essential in creating an atmosphere. You know, if they've lost 3 in a row, you know, that clown's role is to really alleviate the tension that might be around the club there as well.
I think we've always naturally assumed that, you know, laughter is helpful, but when you talk about how we show those quite serious clips, you know, we talk about suicide prevention. We've had discussions in clubs where guys are sharing their deepest thoughts, and it's sometimes pretty dark and hard. And then we put on a video that's actually really light and funny. It feels almost incongruous, like that. How could we? And yet you can watch the tension. You can just see their shoulders relax. You can see them all go, oh, you mean we're allowed to laugh? After having had a cry, we're allowed to laugh. And we've actually learned that it's quite scientific to take people, particularly men, I think, into a deep space. We can only stay there for a certain period of time, and it's important that we go there. But then to have that way out that says, okay, let's breathe again, let's laugh again, life's okay again, and we can go back to that space later on. It's a wonderful adjunct, isn't it, when we're having a serious conversation to actually have a laugh. And I know also that thing about that diffusion of conflict. If I'm having an argument with my wife and I do happen to think of something funny to say, it's amazing how it changes her persona quite quickly. If I can just get her to laugh, then I feel like I'm in less trouble.
It's worth learning a new joke, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah. So sorry, I interrupted you there, Scotty.
Yeah, I was going to get Ed Werner's response to this, Edward, and that's the idea of the sad clown. You know, someone like Robin Williams. I read something recently that the Time magazine had Oxford Uni study 500 comedians, and what they found was that a person's need to create humour to make other people laugh is very similar to the cognitive elements in someone with psychosis. So, you know, it's suggested that comedians have a way of self-medicating by producing jokes and acts that create humour. So temporarily alleviating their own mental health issues for a short period of time, and that idea of getting up on stage is temporarily alleviating, you know, what's going on. The idea of an extroverted introvert is probably a personality trait that I see in a lot of comedians as well.
Yeah, I think it's quite an interesting study, Scotty, to have a look, you know, the likes of Jim Carrey and, you know, and I guess looking at Robin Williams and there's so many others that have made us all laugh, and yet I guess they did have, you know, torments, and I guess comedy was a way. The one thing I was thinking about was funerals. I don't know for you guys, but going to a funeral where you can sit back and really celebrate someone's life through humour, you come away feeling just so uplifted. And I've, you know, enjoyed just so many times that opportunity You know, and at times I've had the privilege of writing eulogies too, where, you know, you go to family and you look at the fun times and just make sure that they are elements of perhaps what could be very sad times, but an opportunity to bring people together and just really celebrate a person's life. And I think that humour really does that at funerals. Yeah.
Yeah, terrific. What about kids and adults, Scotty? How do we differ in terms of humour?
Yeah, Dave, I find research shown, Dave, that kids laugh on average 400 times a day. Dave,
Wow.
and you know, me as a teacher, you know when a child's laughing, it's that whole body. It encompasses their whole body when a child's having a good chuckle. Unfortunately, Dave, we move into adulthood. Adults tend, on average, laugh about 15 times a day. You know, when life gets a bit serious, and we tend to laugh with our mind more than anything, Dave. So I think as adults, it's essential that we try and just get more humour into our lives. So, Dave, I've got a few practical tips there, Dave, on slide 2 there about how we can get more humour and laughter into our everyday. You got that one up there, Dave?
Yeah, I'm about to get it up. One way or another, I am having problems today with my screen, but we'll get there. Here we go. Share screen, and this is one of yours. Before we move on, do you want to tell us about this one, Scotty? Here's Walter.
Okay, Dave. The first one there we've got is just to find more humour in your day. One way we can do that is just smile more. You know, your body actually responds subconsciously to the sensation of smiling, because if we put a smile on our dial, it kind of tricks our body that laughter is going to naturally follow. So, you know, get rid of that resting face, okay, and put a smile on your dial. Dave, you jogging, and I've got a similar story. I've fallen into good habits of going for a run early in Ballarat, you know, which is very lovely. But I'm down near a popular running track in Ballarat. And as I'm running along in the morning, I tend to have a smile on my face and tend to pass the same people all the time. And I always smile and say good morning to them, you know. And once they realise that I've given them the 1.5 metre safety barrier, they tend to relax and say good morning to me. But there was an old bloke there as I'm running past, and couldn't get a response from this old bloke, you know, and I thought, I'm not giving up on you, mate. Every morning I'd say, good morning, mate, how you going? Nothing, you know. And I reckon about the 8th time, he comes out with, yourself? So I just said to him, how you going, mate? Yourself? The next morning, I'm going, hey, lovely morning, yourself? Like, that's not even an answer to that. But anyway, if he's doing that for comedy, that's gold, and he's making me laugh in the morning. So smile more. The second one there, Dave, is surround yourself with people who make you laugh. Hang out with positive, fun people. Really, I find, Dave, too, if you're around negative people or complainers, it's really important to try and take control of the situation, you know, change the subject, try and light-hearted content in it, you know, a silly question, whatever. My dad is great at this, Dave, and he's a source of inspiration all the time. If we're sitting around a dinner table, and whether it's people we know or strangers, Dad's got a great sense if someone's not having a great time, and he really brings them into the fold with humour. And I think we can do that all the time, you know, try and inject that humour if we can. And that other thing, Dave, a bit of advice, you know, when you get a stupid thought in your head, you know, something that you find funny, don't leave it in there. Let it out, you know. And I had an example at Spotlight, of all places, just recently. My wife and daughter went to Japan on a holiday, and I couldn't go because we get worked pretty hard at Salt there, Dave. But I couldn't go. And what I thought I'd do is welcome them at the airport with a welcome home balloon. I went into Spotlight and got this welcome home balloon, you know, welcome home, love daddy, with a nice bunny rabbit on it. And as I go up to the counter at Spotlight, this young bloke served me and he goes, yeah, that'll be $15, mate. I said, yeah, thanks very much, mate, and gave him the $15. He then goes, mate, do you want that blown up? And I said, mate, that'd be great if you could blow that balloon up for me, mate. And he goes, but that'll be an extra $3. And I looked at him, I said, oh, mate, is that extra cost due to inflation? Yeah. Dave, as soon as I've said it, he's had a laugh. The people around us had a bit of a laugh. And, so I'd say, Dave, any time in your day, if you can inject a little bit of humour, especially in those places we don't think Spotlight's not a place you're going to get many gags in, Dave, if you're looking for an overlocker. So just try and inject more humour. Edwina, like you said, I'd take the time to find more humorous content as well. Be active, If it's those old movies you tended to like, watch them again. Find sitcoms you like. A lot of great podcasts too nowadays that you can get on while you're going to work. Memes, I know you're a bit over your memes, Dave, but surely there's some there that still tickle your fancy. One thing that we've done too during this time of lockdown is go back and revisit baby videos. That's been a great entertaining family activity to have a bit of a laugh. And my last one there would be go and see stand-up, not just the times the Melbourne Comedy Festival's on. Every night of the week, you've got that opportunity to go out and see free comedy. So just do it.
Sorry, you reminded me of something funny there with the baby videos. Our family are actually famous. There is a meme getting around that has been seen by hundreds of thousands of people around the world, and it started in our house. It's a video that says Matt's first birthday, and it's been crossed out, and underneath it says Ghostbusters 2. And it's done the whole world that people think that we were more interested in Ghostbusters 2 than Matt's first birthday video, and we copied over the top.
Popular movie, Dave. Popular movie.
I was just going to come back to your point, Scotty, around smiling.
Yep.
There's the science behind that. There's a Duchenne smile, which, when we look at and people smile, that there is this positive resonance, the mirror neurons within, they're neurons within our brains that fire when we see a smile, and we get this sort of injection of dopamine. And so the Duchenne smile is a thing. So, we do smile. You go into a supermarket or your old guy on the bike track or whatever, they can't help but be infected by that smile. So better than coronavirus, we can infect them with our smiles, which I think is a really good thing, particularly as we should be thinking around physical distancing and obviously socially connecting at this time. And the other thing you said around surrounding yourself, we often talk about, when I'm talking to staff in schools, about do you want to be an electrician or a plumber? In terms of lighting people up or just sort of sucking the life out of them. And I think we do know when we're in conversations whether we're energized by them, and that we need to be seeking those out or understanding when we're depleted why that might be. And really just making sure that we hang out with those energizers, because they are way better for our well-being.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you're keeping your eye on the chat here, but James is having a ball out there, and they're just telling jokes at the moment. So I'm just reading, why don't cannibals eat comedians? Why, Jared? Because they taste funny. I would like to go back over that perhaps at the end. They're having fun at our expense over there. No one's listening at the moment, Scotty. They're just cracking their own jokes.
Well, that's great, Dave. We've served our purpose. Can we wrap it up now, Dave? We're done.
I just wanted to make the point that in one of our presentations, we have BT Brian Taylor and Matthew Richardson telling really corny jokes, and the idea is they've got to try and make the other person laugh, and the other person's got to try not to laugh. And I always watch the audience when we show them, because they're kind of corny jokes, and at first they're pretty good at resisting laughing, but there's a cumulative build-up, and after a while they can't stop, and they're looking at each other, and when one laughs, then the other just bursts out, and as much as they've tried to resist, the power of humour has overtaken the situation, and they can't contain the change in emotion that says, I'm now relaxed and happy. And I watch the audience. First couple of jokes, they kind of just nod and smile. By the end, the jokes are no funnier, but they're laughing their heads off because it is contagious. It creates a completely different atmosphere in the room, doesn't it? And it's a good one.
Couldn't agree more, Dave. And just there when you said relax, Dave, I think there's a fair bit just to learn to laugh at yourself, One of the differences between, happy and depressed people is that ability just to, turn those awkward moments or mistakes to opportunities just to laugh at yourself. I mean, me, Dave, I absolutely hate packaging. You know, it's one thing that does my head in. Those little Ziploc bags, you know,
Yep.
I'd be more likely to put the bag over my head, Dave. I just have a thing with packaging. I'm not allowed to open cereal in my house. You know, if I open cereal, the daughter's like, Mum, Dad's opened the cereal again. Come and have a look at this. So, you know, just laugh at yourself, Dave. I think we can all probably do that a bit more. The one there, don't worry about the sound of your laugh. You know, we all have unique and quirky laughs. Nothing sounds better to me in an audience, Dave, when you've got that really unique laugh. Someone's having a big belly laugh and they're enjoying themselves. That next one there, Dave, is take your time. We're really busy, you know, and we lead busy lives, but we really need to take that time to just be yourself. And I reckon, if anything, isolation's probably taught us that a little bit, just to be in the moment a little bit more. Because if we're that busy, we're not going to find that humour and laughter in our day. Edwina, like you said, that smile on your face, but even practicing laughter, you know, force a few chuckles. If you're driving to work in the car, you know, just be spontaneous, laugh out loud, because it can also reduce those cortisol levels, you know. The idea that people go to laughing classes or laughing yoga, you know, can really be beneficial too.
I had a few students do that once. We had a laughing class, which was terrific. You know, I had a specialist lady come in, and you know, they thought they were a bit silly, but once they all started, they absolutely loved it.
Oh, absolutely.
So anyone that needs a good injection of positivity, get along to the local laughing club. Definitely.
Absolutely. And we don't mean to turn him into that crazy guy walking down the street laughing to himself, but he could be really onto something, you know. Don't rule him out. He could be travelling okay. The other thing I would say is pay attention to the physical sensation of laughing, just like kids do, you know. Next time you have a big chuckle, put your hand on your diaphragm and try and keep your laughing muscles strong, because we're not allowed to go to the gym, so practice getting your laughing muscles up and running. Just a quick story there, Dave. I was at the gym prior to the lockdown, and I was watching this young guy, and I could tell he was pretty happy with his progress, because the main gym equipment that he was using during that session was the mirror. And he was absolutely getting out of control a little bit more. And I went over to this young bloke and I said, "Oh, excuse me, mate, when you're finished with that mirror, can I borrow it?" You know, and I thought, I was going to either get a dumbbell across the skull, but we had a bit of a laugh together. So really, not only your physical muscles, get your laughing muscles going too. Now, Dave, as we're getting pretty close to wrapping up, my last one there is just commit to laughter. There's so many benefits in what it offers us, both physically and mentally. Just find ways to offer your brain a more consistent source of humour and more often, you know. Make the decision every day to try to make people laugh, you know. Find ways to make your kids laugh, your workmates, strangers laugh. And I think if we kind of did that, you know, we're like Edwina said, we're spreading something really positive into the community too.
Yeah.
Scotty,
and I think too, it's about self-compassion. So, you know, if we're going to be self-compassionate, that laughter is a key element of that, whether it is laughing at ourselves so that we don't get too hung up on what we see of our shortfalls, but just that laughter and making sure that we take the time to watch funny things like Utopia, which is an, you know, exceptional, or Upper Middle Bogan, these sort of Australian shows that really get to the heart of our culture, or even going back and watching The Castle, which was on telly a few weeks ago. You know, so many things. Purposely doing that is just a wonderful thing for us to do. Yeah. Guys,
I'm going to have to bring it to an end because we're at 1:29. I've got Scotty's 3 points here. Surround yourself with people who make you laugh. Learn to laugh at yourself and commit to laughter as a daily habit. And be a good encourager. When other people tell dumb jokes, you can go, or you can actually really laugh and make them feel good. And, yeah, we need people who will do that. Think of one young person. Oh, that's the wrong one. Fill your day with daily laughter. Let's forget that one. We've got Edwina coming up on Friday with the science of sleep. I know there's a lot of articles around that say, you know, make sure it's cool. Don't use social media before you go to bed, and there's stuff written. But Edwina's got some really unique insights into how we can sleep better. And I remember when I was a school counsellor, the number of kids who said that they didn't sleep very well. This is a massive issue for us. I speak to some people who say, I'm sleeping better during COVID, and others who, because of anxiety or other issues, are not sleeping very well. So really looking forward to having you, Ed, come in on Friday and share that with us. They're our three sponsors, Bendigo Bank, Eastland and FC. We thank them so much for today. Catch-up sessions available through our website, through our Facebook or on YouTube. Club Reconnect is now running out into clubs, and it's working really well, as I mentioned at the beginning. So get in contact with us if you want it for your club or workplace. We do some terrific information seeking and information sharing with our live quiz. Lifeline, the number is there for people in need, as we always put up. We want to thank you. It's 1:30. Scotty, you made me laugh today. Thank you so much. We so appreciate you as a SALT presenter. Ed, love what you do for us, and thanks to everybody. Stay safe, stay connected, and remember, we are going to come out of this time stronger, better, richer in the things that really matter, things like more laughter. Thanks, everybody.